This is Tyrese Halliburton, and you're listening to Setting the Pace.
And that right there is how you start off game one and round two of the Eastern Conference semifinals. Indiana Pacers, they take down the Cleveland Cavaliers 121-112. And Facci, may the 4th be with you.
May the 4th. You want to talk about that stealing home court in round two, pep in the step? The shock the world, prove the haters wrong type of pep in the step on a Monday morning. That's what we're all going to have because the Indiana Pacers have officially stolen home court in round two. They did something that nobody said they'd do. How's it feel, Alex? I'm feeling hyped.
It feels so good. I mean, just so many big shot after big shot. Cavalanche comes in the third quarter. Donovan Mitchell goes on a run. You 17-4 run for the Cavs, end up going up by, I don't remember how many points it was, but the Pacers weather the storm. 8 points to close the third quarter. A beautiful three from Mathurin to kind of break the tension. Halliburton drive. Turner comes in for the last play of the quarter, hits that three on the baseline right there in the corner. So just unbelievable shot making from the Pacers. Obviously, it's going to be the storyline here as we talk about the 3-point shooting variance here between Indiana and Cleveland. But I said at the beginning, may the 4th be with you. Did we really think the Pacers were going to lose a game when they roster a player by the name of Obi-Wan?
Obi-Wan, and Miles is all for good, May 4th. So clearly, hey, the Pacers were ready. I just feel like this was that game where we've said it before. They're better when they're overlooked. They are. It's like they're playing with house money, whatever analogy you want to use. Indiana was not afraid of Cleveland. I know you could say for the regular season, Indiana beat Cleveland 3-1, but it really wasn't like that. So you had to come out with your best punch, and that is exactly what Indiana did from the start. They shot 67% in the first quarter, and I felt like just about out of 48 minutes of gameplay, outside of that run in the third quarter that you mentioned, Indiana was the better team tonight. It showed, and man, I just feel like anything is possible now.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, if you look at this game, right, when we found out Darius Garland was going to be out, it changed a lot because he put so much pressure on the defense, and not having him in there, and they go with Sam Merrill, more of a floor spacer. I kind of was surprised by that. Ended up not playing him as much as Ty Jerome, but I thought Charles Barkley brought up a really good point. I mean, I don't usually love the inside the NBA crew right there on TNT for their breakdown of analysis, but when you have Ty Jerome and Donovan Mitchell combining for 50 of the Cavs, 98 attempts, you live with that every day. I mean, Evan Mobley was unbelievable offensively in this game. He didn't get nearly as many touches as he should have probably got from Cleveland's standpoint. I mean, I think he ends up finishing with about 13 field goal attempts. He was the third highest, but like Max Strus, 2 of 9. DeAndre Hunter was really hitting some shots, 4 of 8. Jared Allen, 6 of 7. You only let Allen get 7 shot attempts. That's huge too. So I personally just think if you're from an Indiana standpoint, like it all comes down to two things to me in this game for why Indiana was able to win. And I think number one, 3-point shot making. Yep. Number one by far. Because if you look at both teams here, Facci, the Cavs went 9 of 38 from 3. Indiana went 19 of 36. You hit 10 more threes than them in this game. I think that's massive. So that to me is like number one. And number two, I think part of the reason the Cavs were able to kind of stay in this game, the Pacers with their turnovers, Facci, we have not seen this happen very often, but 17 turnovers to just 8 for Cleveland. That's the reason I think Cleveland was able to stay in this game for as long as it did, despite their bad 3-point shooting.
That is so uncharacteristic of the Pacers because we talked about it. It was like their strength at the end of the regular season and in the playoffs to have single-digit turnover games, like games where you have 8 turnovers total. It's like fantastic, brilliant basketball. The Pacers had 8 turnovers by halftime. Yeah. So it was like, wow, this is not like them. So you and I, we were talking off air. We were like, man, like, how did this happen? How did Ty Jerome and Donovan Mitchell get so many shot attempts up? It's because when you have 17 turnovers and, you give up on the offensive glass, Cleveland actually ends up putting up 15 more shots than the Pacers. So there was some anomalies that, didn't work maybe in their favor, but, here's the thing. I feel encouraged that Indiana can clean things up, and they could potentially play a better game from a, protecting the rock standpoint. But going back to 3-point shooting, when you say that Cleveland only had 9 3-pointers, I heard a great stat. TNT, they were throwing them out there. Look, we don't have
Johnson,
Chris and Quinn. They said Cleveland had 91 straight games with 10 or more 3-pointers made. That streak was snapped like a twig tonight by the Indiana Pacers. So When you're talking about 9 made threes, Andrew Nembhard and Aaron Nesmith combined to go 9 of 12 from 3. Can we pause for a second and talk about some of the shots that Andrew Nembhard was hitting in this game? These were deep threes. He looked like Reggie Miller. I know we were talking about that in the BCC chat, where it's like it
Nice
looked
plug.
yeah. I mean, yeah, hey, there we go. Well, look, he was hitting those where you're like, what? It's like these end of the shot clock deep when he doesn't have to think about it. I mean, I don't know if we're going to see another type. I don't know when we've seen him shoot the ball like that. 5 of 6 from 3. Man, tonight, 23 points. He saved, I don't want to say his best for the playoffs, but this was probably his best offensive game of the season.
He's got irrational confidence, and I absolutely love it. I mean, I don't think I can complain ever again in the regular season about his three-point shooting. Because when it matters the most, when his back's against the wall, he hits everything. I don't understand it. It's crazy to me. I know Dustin Dopiric asked him about it at practice a couple days ago. I just thought it was incredible the way that he just puts the ball up and finds ways to get shots in. Like, it's unreal. I literally cannot believe the way that he is shooting the ball so well from 3. Like, it's incredible, Facci. I feel more comfortable with him making threes at this point in the season than Tyrese Halliburton. And I shouldn't feel that way. Tyrese Halliburton is one of the best three-point shooters in the point guard position across the league. But here we have Andrew Nembhard playing the 2 guard, a shooting guard position, and he is actually shooting the ball so well while defending his butt off on Donovan Mitchell. Look, we talked about it when Garland's here. Who's going to guard who? I for sure thought they would put Nesmith on Mitchell and Nembhard on Garland, but I think they might just keep that matchup the way that it is and might put Nesmith on Garland just because of the toe stuff. So I'll just say this, when you're guarding the other team's best player who took 30 shots in the game and also shooting that well from 3, you can't say enough great things just about the way that he's prepared his body to be ready for this type of, stamina and that kind of thing.
Look, the Pacers talked about it last year. They were worn out once it got down to the end of the playoffs, and they said, can they get their bodies prepared to play in June? And I feel like we're seeing a Pacers team that is not breaking down. Donovan Mitchell, got up 30 shots, had 33 points, 1 of 11 from 3. I feel like that man the perimeter defense by the Pacers was fantastic. But I'll share this. I'm confident in my marriage. When Andrew Nembhard was nailing shots, my wife goes, oh my God, Nembhard, I love him. He's so cute. And I turned, I was like, all right, look, he's having a game right now, but am I about to lose my wife? Like, Nembhard was sweeping everybody off their feet. It was like he was having that type of performance that you had to take notice. And man, this is a guy that had two 20-point games in the regular season, and he's already done that in the playoffs. Like, this is playoff Nembhard. He is, I can't think of anyone else that has rose their game up higher than he has, at least on this Pacers team.
I mean, get hard, stay hard, Nembhard, baby. That's just what we got to go with right there, baby. I mean, you can't say enough great things about the way that he's playing. And look, Facci, I tell you what, I'm watching the game at my house. I'm trying to be very quiet. Fletcher is asleep in the living room, and I'm doing all of the, the air pumps after the big shots. Man. I'm just like, let's go. This is awesome. Like, I'm just loving it because I just want them to win. Like,
I know
them winning is so much more fun for the podcast. Who wants to come in here and talk about a loss? Like, people are like, why are you cheering for the Pacers? Of course, I cheer for the team I cover. When they win, the fans like it more. Why would I want to talk about a loss? So absolutely, I'm cheering for the Pacers, and I'm a fan at heart. Let's just be honest. But with that being said, Fletcher wakes up with 2 minutes left in the fourth quarter. And so then I can start to cheer a little bit. But if I cheer too loud, he does get a little bit scared. So I was doing the fun little cheers with him, and he was smiling, and he was kind of pumping his fists up a little bit. It was great. My wife, after the game was over, she looked at me and she goes, that's great. Pacers in 4. So I love the irrational confidence from our wives here. Your wife's wanting Andrew Nembhard as her future husband. My wife saying Pacers in 4 against the Cavs, best team in the...
People are running wild right now. You know, they're losing their minds. Pacer mania. It's going
wild.
But
What'd you text me?
Look, I texted you. I said this is magical, and of course, classic fashion. Like Ty Jerome hits a 3, and you're like, "Don't jinx it." And I'm like, I waited 47 and a half minutes of gameplay to send you a text, and of course, it's like
just saw the Pacers come back from a 118-111 deficit and win the game, and that's what the score was after that 3. Do you blame me?
Wait any longer? I was freaking out. I mean, this is what it's all about. It's like nobody was outside of the Pacers was picking the Pacers, to win this game. And I even saw, I said Cavs in 7 on the last episode. I saw people giving me heat for that. And it's like, look, guys, I want to be wrong. I want to win. But I also did say in that episode, If Indiana stands any chance of winning this series, you have to take one of two from Cleveland in those first 2 games. And that's exactly what they did. And now you have a real chance to be able to win this series. And this was a top to bottom type of effort. Look, classic Pacer basketball, 6 players score in double figures. We already talked about Andrew Nembhard, but there were some big performances. I feel like Tyrese Halliburton now, it's like we've said before, if you could just, look, if you can get to 20 points, Indiana's lethal. 22 points, 13 assists, 3 blocks. This is now the second playoff game in a row that Tyrese has had 3 blocks.
Led the team in blocks tonight.
He does it on efficient, 9 of 15 from the floor. He had it going early on also. Hit his first 3 shots. We've seen this before. There was an article that went out. When he hits his first shot, he's that much better. And there's something about that. We've seen that with Miles Turner before. When that first shot goes in, Tyrese tends to keep shooting. And that's what he does. 15 shots, 22 and 13, just 1 turnover. That's point guard play.
I'm telling you, man, it's incredible to me just to see him do this. And so I'm so flabbergasted by how good he's been, Facci. It's crazy. And one of the things that you didn't mention, Facci, here.
What did I miss?
7 of 9 from 2. 7 of 9 from inside the arc. And these weren't drives to the basket. These were pull-up jumpers 18 feet out. This is masterful Tyrese Halliburton. When he can be a 3-level scorer, the step back over Jared Allen, the drive to the basket on the mismatch, the pull-up twos. I mean, when he is scoring like this in bunches, the Pacers are pretty much unbeatable. Kenny from, I forget what podcast he does. I'm so sorry. He's very popular. Kenny Beecham. 27 and 3 for the Pacers, for the Pacers when Tyrese Halliburton scores 20 points or more this season. So 27 and 3, that's a daunting stat. Shoot the ball more, score more points. The Pacers are going to need you, and that's why we talked about it with Schultz. If the Pacers want to win this series, Halliburton and Siakam have to be your MVPs of this game. And I feel like maybe Siakam didn't have a loud second half, just 4 points in the second half, but did all of his damage in the first half and really set the tone. And I felt like you need him to kind of get things rolling for Indiana, because when he kind of gets settled in, everybody can play off of that. And so I just thought it was really good from him. And I thought it was interesting that Cleveland did decide to put Jared Allen on Pascal Siakam and put Evan Mobley on Miles Turner. I think they were afraid of that pick and pop and didn't want Jared Allen to be caught in that switching stuff with Tyrese and Miles, like we saw them do against the Bucks with Brook Lopez. So they're like, we're going to put our defensive player on of the year out there. But I'm sorry, but Pascal Siakam is going to be able to find ways to score over Jared Allen. I know he's bigger and maybe a little bit, faster than Brook Lopez was if you want to make that switch in the previous series. But Siakam is very, very crafty, and he knows how to get to the right spot at the right time. So I just didn't love that decision by Cleveland. I think that Pascal Siakam is more important to the Pacers offense than Miles Turner, as well as important as Miles is to the offense. Don't get me wrong, because he had some really good stats there, even at the half. I think he had like 6 points, 4 rebounds, but he had like 3 steals and 2 blocks or something like that too. So it was just really good stuff from him. But anyway, Foch, I just have to say, Siakam, very steady game from him, and he had some big buckets in the second half when they needed him, but it was only 4 points, so kind of got everybody going, and I just like the way that he set that tone early on.
Oh, he really did. He had 10 points the first quarter, and I want to say it was like 7 of the first 10 or something. So like that's like we've seen those type of performances where someone just kickstarts the team and gives them that boost, and they never really look back. And I feel like that's what Siakam did. And I know that the last few games haven't been like maybe his best, but I feel like there's a big breakout performance that's coming. And I feel like, hey, you could always live with 17 points, 8 boards, 4 assists. Like that's a solid game. We just know that he's capable of more. But on a night like this, we picked up the slack. Like we talked about it. Nembhard rose to the occasion, played really well. I felt like when Aaron Nesmith wasn't in foul trouble, that man was doing it on both ends. I mean, I love the fact that he has that, come from behind block on a Donovan Mitchell 3-pointer and then races out, hits a 3-pointer of his own. He has 17 points in this game, 5 of 8 from the field, 4 of 6 from 3. Aaron Nesmith from 3 right now feels almost like the closest thing to automatic, especially those corner threes. I mean, he is really in the zone, also gives you 8 rebounds. And Aaron Nesmith, who's doing the 3 and D, doing it really well, is an Aaron Nesmith that every single team in the NBA wants. Really good, solid performance, I think, from Aaron Nesmith.
He's incredible, Facci. I mean, I think, honestly, the biggest thing that happened to the Pacers was him not having to play all 82 games this year. I think him getting injured and then being able to come back and not being forced to rush back, right? Pacers were kind of able to weather the storm without Nesmith, get him back January-ish, right? And just from there on, he's only had to play for like 3 months compared to 6. So I just think that it's fresher legs. And Pat Boylan, just putting out some great tweets here. He said Aaron Nesmith is 18 of 32 in the 2025 playoffs, shooting 56%. So that was after he made that career to go up 80 to 68.
Thank you for saving me that. Yeah, thank you for saving me the math. I was in the middle of doing it. It's just fantastic. Like he is just. I mean, this is a guy that right now, like his numbers right now would be a career year for him. His playoff numbers would be a best year for him. So it's like, I love it. He's been huge. I even started, this was the type of game that like friends that never watched the Pacers started texting me and being like, yo, Nesmith's a dog. Or like, yo, I love the toughness that the Pacers have. Or I think you guys are going to take this. Like you could see like when you get bumped from NBA TV to TNT, there's more eyes on the Pacers, and they're not letting people down. Like, people are tuning in, and they're amazed, and they're going, actually, maybe there is more to this team. Because I feel like every round, there's always we're just going to pick against the Pacers because, well, they're the Pacers. I mean, they're a small market team. They're not really going to pull this out. And in the end, I'll say this. I said it last time. What has Cleveland done with this unit? Unit, Kenny Atkinson, someone had in our comments, has never coached in the second round before. Donovan Mitchell, never been to Western Conference Finals. Evan Mobley, never been to Western Conference Finals. Jared Allen, like they have a lot of guys that are good, but have not had playoff success. And it's not to say that Indiana has years and years of playoff success, but I just don't think that this is Boston versus Indiana. I think these are teams that are on somewhat of a equal playing ground. Obviously, Cleveland had a fantastic, incredible regular season, but this is the playoffs. I don't care about the regular season anymore.
No, it's a good point. And I mean, it's you don't want to be disrespectful after one game either, because without Darius Garland, I'm trying to be very careful of that.
I know.
Because I do respect what the Cavs have done all year long. I felt like a lot of Cavs fans that were just getting, I mean, they could still win it in 5. They could win 4 in a row here if they get hot. Right. So anything is possible, but I just felt like the Cavs in 5 was such a disrespectful pick to how well the Pacers have been playing this year. And I get it. They should have all the confidence in the world. I told Bob Schmidt that, right? I'm like, look, you guys won 64 games. You've won 68 now. Like you're 68 and 19 for the season. Like that's incredible basketball. But I'm just saying, like, and I'm including the playoff record, by the way, the 4 playoff wins and the 1 loss to the Pacers now. But I'm just saying, they've been playing great, and they should have all the confidence in the world. But when he asked me early on in the season, I think it was back in January before they played those 2 games, he asked me, would you rather play the Cavs or the Celtics in round 2 if they get to that point? I said, no offense, but I want the Cavs. I'm like, I get the Celtics have been kind of up and down all year, but they just beat you in different ways, and Joe Mazzulla just won a championship with them. Like, they got that championship pedigree. You kind of talked about it with OKC. Like, until they prove it to me, I'm not going to fully believe in them. I think OKC's on a different level because they have an MVP level candidate on their roster. But if Donovan Mitchell's your best player, I get it. It's a great player, right? I think they're beatable. And I think there's holes that you can poke in them. Like, look, I expected a long series no matter what. I told you my head said Cavs in 7. My heart said Pacers in 7. So that's why I picked the Pacers. Look, people are saying that the Pacers, there's no way they could win a Game 7 on the road in Cleveland. I said, what are you smoking? This team won Game 7 against the Knicks in Madison Square Garden. So
a historic Game 7. Like, shot the leather off of the ball and set franchise records.
This team is built different. There's just something about them. The Aurora is just so different. And like you mentioned it, if they weren't wearing blue and yellow Pacer jerseys, and they had on like a Knicks jersey, you know how many people would have picked the Knicks to beat the Cavs in an upset, in a 1-4 upset? I think you would have probably seen at least half of ESPN pick the Knicks to win that series if they had seen the same exact way the Pacers have been playing, only if their jerseys were swapped. So, I give the Pacers a ton of credit because they love to buy into the nobody believes in us, and I like it that way. I like when nobody believes in the Pacers because you're playing with house money, and I think that's when they're at their best. When their expectations are high, that's when things get a little bit weary here for the Pacers. But, they just sit under the radar enough to make you feel like, oh, we can take them out. They're not that big of a deal. But I'm telling you, they are a problem, Facci, and they're not going away anytime soon.
No, and you said, Cavs in 5. Like, other people have been saying that. Like, I've seen a fair share of sweep. I've seen a bunch of people saying the Cavs are just, it's like, guys, come on, don't throw us the pity 1 win. Like, oh, Indiana's cute. You'll get 1. Like, no, we're a good team. You tweeted it out since the beginning of January. These teams are almost identical. Almost identical. The Cavs had one of the greatest starts to the regular season. Like, they were, out of this universe in the first few months, and they're still a really, really good team. Like, definitely. But since the beginning of January, the only teams that were better than the Pacers were Cleveland, OKC, and Boston. So we belong. And when Darius Garland, if he is healthy, is out there, Cleveland will be a better team. But we'll see what the health status of Darius Garland is. And I'm sure fans who are haters of the Pacers will say, once again, another hurt team. It's like, guys, I mean, the guy rested for 2 games. They had rest. Like, everybody thought he'd be back. I'm sure he'll probably be back by game 2, but TNT was saying if this was the regular season, they probably would have shut him down for a week or 2. So I think for Cleveland, there probably is a little bit of drip of sweat coming down the forehead saying, what is the status of Darius Garland going to be? But we can't worry about that. The best ability is availability. Right now, this Pacers team got some rest. They are healthy. And I think that they're well balanced. And I think that from top to bottom, you saw Miles Turner. Turner gave you a double-double. He gave you 13 and 11. I mean, he was rebounding very well in glass. You mentioned the 3 steals, the 2 blocks. Like, I just felt like he did. And also that 3, we talked about it already, that ended the third quarter that put the Pacers up 92-90. It was big because, like, the Cavs were really running away with momentum. And we heard from the broadcast. It was loud on TV, but obviously you and I, hey, we got kids. TV can't be too loud.
It was terrible.
Yes.
The broadcasting audio was awful.
Greg Anthony's microphone, what did he bring that from home? I mean, that was like, it was really bad.
Well, it's like every time that the crowd got loud, it's almost like they changed the audio levels so you couldn't hear it. And I'm like, I like hearing the crowd. That makes the game more fun. Like, they were talking about how loud it was in the building. I couldn't hear anything. My volume wasn't super loud, but like I felt like I was watching a game on mute half the time with really muffled audio. Like something just got distorted. I mean, for this being a professional company that's done so many playoff games before, I'm not going to lie. I'm glad TNT is going to be off the broadcast moving forward. If this is the production you're going to get, I mean, how bad do you have to be? Like, you know, I'm trying to stream different things. I have my dad's DirecTV login, so I'm trying to watch that through, you know, the streaming service, right? It's not coming in very clear, so I ended up just buying HBO Max for the month just so I can watch it on there. So it's just easier to see. I mean, the picture was way better with HBO Max directly versus other stuff, but I was just really disappointed in the quality of the audio. And then like the first quarter, like how many different camera angles did they have? It was like weird zooming. And I'm like, guys, you do this every single freaking day from like April to whatever until the playoffs are over. Like, how do you not get this figured out by now? So just incredibly disappointing from a professional company that is their job to put on basketball games for a live event.
Exactly. I mean, we've heard people in our comments like, oh, guys, the audio was a little choppy. It's like, all right, look, this is you and I in our own homes doing what we can. This is TNT, like a multi-billion-dollar business. Like,
our mics sound better than Greg Anthony's tonight.
Yeah, Greg Anthony, I'm telling you, I feel like he pulled his mic out of like a duffel bag that he brought from home, and like, you know, it was like this was not up to par. But anyway, and I saw someone else say one of the games a couple days ago, it sounded like someone was using like an Xbox microphone for a couple seconds. Like someone uploaded the audio. It was like terrible for a while, but hopefully they received enough complaints. They'll be able to get it right. But man, Pacers starting lineup, they really brought it tonight. Mathurin had his moments in the first half, but overall,
really good, Facci.
Yeah. He definitely had some moments early on, specifically, I feel like in the second quarter, where he was up to like 8 points and I feel like was just going hard. I love the block that he had. I know they challenged it, but that was a key moment where
I'm surprised it wasn't overturned, to be honest.
I know. At first, live, I went, that's definitely a block. Then you look at it back, Mathurin had his hand on, what was it, Evan Mobley's chest? Oh, Darius. It
was DeAndre Hunter.
Was it?
It was DeAndre Hunter, yeah, because he blocked it off before he landed out of bounds.
Yeah. So I was like, oh, man, all right, that's getting overturned. And then it didn't. And, you know, every now and then you catch a break. I'm sure Cavs fans were, you know, annoyed about that, rightfully so. But to lose the challenge, to use the challenge, lose a timeout, not get that call, that was rough. And then Carlisle, on the other hand, when I was kind of hoping that Turner wouldn't have got whistled for it. Was it Turner? Whatever it was, when Turner hit that.
Turner against Max Strus.
Yeah. I was hoping we'd be able to get that because if we could have gone up from 8 to 11, that would have been huge. I respect Rick doing the challenge there because it would have been really big, but obviously it was not overturned.
Yeah, I mean, I'll be honest with you. I didn't think Rick was going to win that challenge, but I understood the reason why you take it with 2 minutes left. You're up by 8. Like, it's a very good point to like try to maybe you win it. Because the fact that they didn't lose the Cavs challenge, or the Cavs didn't win their challenge, that to me was a little bit surprising. Just because I think the arm might have hit at the exact same time he blocked the ball. So maybe you don't call it in that instance, but
defensive effort.
It's just, I get it. There was a lot of physicality in this game, a lot of physical play, and it felt like there for a hot minute, especially in the third quarter. Every time the Cavs drove to the basket, it was a foul on the Pacers. And then every time Indiana drove to the basket, they weren't getting any calls. And so, Rick Carlisle was definitely complaining about things, and you could see him just like yelling at the officials, like, why aren't you calling the same stuff for us? And, it really just depends, I think, partially on who's on the baseline, on what side you're running down the court on, because Zach Zarba was there for the Jared Allen dunk that he had that should have been a foul on Miles Turner. They didn't call that one. I'm sure you remember that big play where Jared Allen kind of like threw it in, like didn't fully dunk it. But honestly, like, I'm not going to complain about the officiating at all. I could understand why there was frustration from the coaching staff at times because of the lack of calls the Pacers were getting there. But fun fact here, Facci, I'm on Twitter, and Greg Harvey tweeted this out. I think you're going to like this one. So I didn't get my shovel to dig, but I found this on social. He said, players in the last 60 years to total 100-plus points, 70-plus assists, and 35-plus rebounds through 6 games of a single playoff run. Rajon Rondo in 2009, Magic Johnson 6 different times, and Tyrese Haliburton in 2025. That's the list.
That's crazy. I mean, look, obviously, I've seen people saying that Tyrese is the modern day Magic, and I know that's some people could probably get
better than John Stockton.
Yeah, I mean, look, I know some people could be like, how could you compare him to Magic Johnson? But like in this era, he's doing Magic-like things, and Rondo has had some incredible playoff runs before. A lot of talent around him where he's just gone crazy at times. So Haliburton, there has not been those type of questions like last year where it's like, is he healthy or this? Look what a healthy Tyrese Haliburton and a confident one can do mentally and physically. This man is sharp right now, and he's playing really good basketball. And when he's playing that type of basketball, the whole team just elevates their game to the next level. I mean, 30 assists on 44 made shots. Fantastic stuff. Really, truthfully. And then you talked about when the Pacers weren't getting calls. Well, when they did, and then went to the free throw line, they were 14 of 14 before Nesmith missed that last free throw at the end. But like sometimes that's what it takes in these close games, is like, can you hit your free throws?
Yeah.
Indiana hit just about everything tonight. 53% from the field, about 53% from 3, and 93% from the free throw line. I mean, it's going to be hard to beat a team when they're really not missing.
Let me ask you this, because we saw in the first half Indiana decided to go small ball. Played Obi Toppin at the 5 with Pascal with that second unit, and they had like Nembhard and McConnell and Mathurin out there, and Jarris Walker was in there at times, and so was Shep. But we didn't see Thomas Bryant until the end of the third quarter, beginning of the fourth. And I'm just curious, did you think the Pacers made the right move going small ball early on?
This was in the third quarter?
Well, no, this is the first half. Remember, in the first half, they went small ball. They had some success with it, came back with it in the second half. Obviously, it wasn't working out in their favor as well during that Cavalier. They bring Thomas Bryant in for Miles Turner at the 5 and take Obi out, and then brought Obi back in the fourth for Pascal when they kind of went to like the Nembhard, Nesmith, Turner, Toppin, Haliburton lineup. So just curious on them going small ball early and not really playing Thomas till the second half.
I don't really like getting too cute about some things, doing too much. Like at one point, there was also a Siakam on an all bench lineup, which has been tough at times. But
that was in the second half. Yeah, you can't do that.
Yeah. But your point on Thomas Bryant held it down for a couple minutes there. When there was no Turner and Nesmith was in foul trouble, Thomas Bryant, it was just a short stint of minutes. He played 6 minutes total. I don't know, however many minutes it was in that span, but he had a block, he had a basket, he had a couple rebounds right there. Like, I felt like that was a pivotal point where Indiana just needed some sort of big in there. They needed to kind of stop that bleeding a bit from Cleveland. And I felt like Thomas Bryant gave just a few good, impactful minutes. Nothing where he's not going to make a highlight reel or you're not going to write home about it, but there's just a couple key minutes when they needed him.
Yeah, I mean, I think that it was the right move at that moment, because I don't think Obi and Pascal were doing a very good job kind of putting any resistance up at the rim, and I felt that way in the first half too. They were just hitting everything, and I mean, even Obi Toppin had that beautiful score down low on Evan Mobley, right underneath the basket. It just kind of shows you like how skilled of a player he actually is. And then he had that beautiful left-handed dunk and transition off a steal. Or that was when Mitchell like just ran into Mobley and lost the ball. Like, just so many miscommunications from Cleveland early on, where I just didn't feel like they were really like connecting well together, gelling well together. And I think part of that too, with the Cavs struggling, was just they haven't played in so many days. Like, when you beat a team 4 games and you're just resting for so long, I think that does kind of hinder you, and they've kind of been resting leading up to that as well. Had a week off before that, weren't playing their guys at the end of the season, so they're not in the same kind of rhythm as Indiana was, where they had to win games down the stretch and then go and play a very competitive series against Milwaukee, even though it was a 5-game victory. I just think that does play a factor, because when you're blowing out teams by 30, 40 points, like, you're not really trying or really feel like you have to give that much effort. But I liked it early on. I think it's something they shouldn't go away from, because I do think that we've seen it work this season. But I do think that you have to have a quick plug, or, pull the plug quickly on it and say, let's go to Thomas Bryant in a short stint. And if Thomas Bryant doesn't have it, then you've got to play Miles more minutes, because I feel like maybe they play Thomas Bryant a little too long, even though he only played 5 minutes and 43 seconds. I'm thinking like 3 minutes at the most.
But I agree. The span that he was good for, it was like 2 or so
3 minutes.
That it was key. It was like, great. He's done everything you could possibly ask for in that moment where he got Turner a breather, and it's like, all right, don't play him too long. But in that moment, I felt like, there was times where I think it was like last year in the playoffs, Jalen Smith would come in for like a minute or two, and like things would collapse, and it was like, oh my God, he doesn't have it right now. Like, this is not going good. You got to get him out of there. I felt like it was a good short stint that was impactful, and it was like, boom, great, you did what you needed to do.
Yeah, I mean, Obi had a block in that stretch when he was playing the small ball 5, but I don't know what it is with Obi Toppin, but like, there was a couple of drives where the Cavs are coming right at the rim, and he just like gets out of the way. And I'm just like, just step up and contest. You can jump out of the gym. Why not just try and block it? I mean, or just go straight up with verticality. We saw Roy Hibbert do that all the time. Like, I'm not saying that you have to be like some like stonewall defender at the rim, but like, contest something. Like, you're out there for a reason. I will live if they decide, oh, shoot, Obi Toppin's there, I'm going to kick it back out for 3. Like, you're fast enough, or you have enough guys that can rotate to get over there and hopefully stop a pass from the rim to a 3-point shooter, or at least have some rotations figured out. I mean, I just don't love the way that he doesn't even try sometimes to protect the rim. I don't expect it much from Pascal, just because you're asking Pascal to do so much else otherwise. But like, I don't know. I'm being nitpicky here in a win, so I don't don't get mad at me, anybody. I'm just pointing some things out, because I feel like this is where he could be better if they're going to play him at the small ball 5. I did think Thomas Bryant, like the one shot that he made, like, Facci, let's be honest here, like, that was just like a crap shot. He's falling down. He just throws it, and I'm like, how did he make that? How did Thomas Bryant make that shot? I was like, everything is going right for the Pacers shot making wise tonight. So I will be stunned if Indiana shoots at this level in game 2. So
that's the thing. It's like, from a 3-point, range, like 3-point wise for us, fantastic. 3-point wise for Cleveland, abysmal. Okay, it's probably going to even out. Like, Indiana could have a game where they don't shoot 53%, but maybe they shoot 40%, and that's still good enough for us. But Cleveland will shoot better from 3. That's definitely going to happen. Indiana's also going to protect the rock better. Like, if they go from 16 turnovers, 17 turnovers to, say, 8, 9, that's a big difference right there. Because, like we mentioned it earlier, the fact that Cleveland got up 15 more shots should have been the difference. It really could have been the difference between the Cavs squeaking out a win if they hit a couple of more. But, I mean, Cleveland shot just below 46%, while Indiana shoots 53% in this game. And I felt like a big part of that was just like Indiana, what you had guys, like we mentioned, Nembhard, Nesmith just going bananas from 3. I think that's great. But I do think there are, like, Siakam's going to have a better performance. I think that, Mathurin is still due for that type of like 18-point game or something. Like, it's coming. I know obviously he's going to need enough minutes to be able to get there, but I felt like his scoring has just kind of been in like a little bit of a burst, and then like second half, maybe not as much. But I think for the Pacers, I mean, this was a really quality win that probably woke Cleveland up, because to your point before, where they've been resting some guys, I said it last time, Cleveland hasn't been in a fight in a while. They really haven't been in one. They haven't been tested. It was the most lopsided series in NBA history, the most lopsided sweep. So second half, who's going hard for them? The Pacers were in a dog fight against Milwaukee, where there's technicals being left and right, and the potential scrums could break out at any point. And it's like, even to end the regular season, they did everything they could. Where this team's won tight games when the scores gotten close. I really don't remember the last time that the Pacers have dropped a game when it's been really close at the end. I feel like when they lost against Milwaukee, it was because the Bucks went crazy in the second half and just, took off from there. When games have gotten close, Indiana has always found a way to dig deep and be able to somehow pull it off. I know that on paper they win this one by 9, but it was a huge 15-4 run or 17-4 run, whatever it was. Actually, I have it right in front of us. This is exactly what it was. It was the Cavs led. I think it was 102-101. And then Indiana closes out and wins 121-112. So they outscore them like 20-10 to end the game. And some of that is like random shots by Cleveland at the end where they're kind of putting up some threes. So, hey, Cleveland led with 7:05 to go, and Indiana never looked back once they took that lead.
I mean, speaking of time leading, Facci, the Pacers led for 40 minutes and 57 seconds of this game. The Cavs led for 5 minutes and 58 seconds. So that's a big difference there. You never really felt like your back was against the wall too much, except for that third quarter explosion, which we knew was going to happen, but you weather the storm. And that's why I think we had to bring it up kind of to start the beginning of the show. Is just like, that is where the Cavaliers came. And we knew the Cavaliers was a real thing. Like Donovan Mitchell was just on a unbelievable, like on a tear at that point, and everybody else was playing well. But I'm looking at these stats here, Facci, and I'm just blown away. Plus minus for the Pacers. You know who number 1 was? Andrew Nembhard, plus 21. Yeah. You know who the worst for the Cavs was? Evan Mobley, minus 20.
That's for the defensive player of the year. I mean, that's pretty crazy. It really is. And Mobley, I mean, on paper, 20 and 10, 9 of 13. He'll probably have a bigger game at some point in this game. He's obviously a stud. But yeah, it's interesting when you share it like that. It really is.
Yeah, I think Jarris Walker had a very poor plus minus in his 8 minutes and 48 seconds. I think he had one shot that looked pretty good. The other one was kind of a rush shot where he just didn't look like he was comfortable. But, it's just going to take time for a guy like that to get comfortable in these tense environments. So anyway, I think that we can kind of wrap this one up. I think that everyone's pretty excited about what the Pacers did. Wouldn't expect this to be replicated for game 2. I mean, I'm going to be greedy and want the Pacers to win game 2. Don't think I'm thinking that. But I was going to ask you this question because I do think it's interesting. If you're going to win one of these 2 games on the road, do you like winning game 1 or do you like winning game 2 better and then going back home with that momentum?
Game one, just I feel like there's something about it that like shocks the world. It sends like the message to like we can do this. There's something like that going up instead of tying up. Like, going up is like that confidence that it's like, hey, we control our own destiny now. Like if we got games, in Indiana, like we got 3 home games where we can go and we can win this. So I feel like to me it's game 1, and I had tweeted it out in 2018 when the Pacers played the Cavaliers. They did just that. They won game 1, and I remember it felt like, hey, anything could happen. That series went to game 7. Obviously, we know how it ended up with LeBron and all this, but this series could very well go to 7. It's going to be a fight, and I feel like the first round, if you want to call it that, if we're saying boxing terms, was won by the Indiana Pacers.
Yeah, that's a good point. I like that you put it in boxing terms for us because I was going to say, I think winning game 1, not for the reasons you brought up, but those are all good reasons. I'm just going to piggyback off that. I think that when you win game 2, maybe you get a little bit confident going into game 3. You're going back home. You can kind of take your foot off the gas just a little bit. I think the Cavaliers ended up winning game 3 in that series against the Pacers, and the Pacers came back and won game 4, if I'm not mistaken, to tie it up before they went back to Cleveland back in 2017, 2018. I could be wrong on that, but
I remember we definitely lost game 2 and we definitely lost game 7. That yes. I definitely remember very, very.
We won game 6, we lost game 5. So I don't remember what happened in 3 and 4, but they split them. I just feel like the Pacers evened it up after 4, but I could be completely wrong on that. So I'll just say this. The reason I like winning game 1 is because now you've got confidence. You got them on their heels a little bit. You go into game 2, and if you're feeling yourself a little bit and you're not going to have the great, performance that they had in game 1, now you get to make adjustments going back home, and now you have got to kind of refocus and get everything ready for when you're, protecting home court in this regard. So that to me is why I kind of like it, just because if you're going to win one of the 2, I like winning game 1 versus game 2 just because of the fact that you can make those adjustments after game 2 to see how they responded to what you did, and now you can be responding to what they did. So I know it sounds a little interesting, but anytime you can go up 1-0, it's always better, like you said, than playing from behind and trying to shock people. But even last year, the Pacers went down 2-0 against the Knicks, came back and won it in 7. So anything's possible. I it feels much, much better playing with the lead in the series versus being down or being tied.
It really does. I think the pressure, we talked about it before, the pressure was never really on Indiana.
No.
The pressure is definitely on Cleveland right now, to the point where they might have to, unfortunately, rush Darius Garland back. And look, I want Darius Garland to be healthy. You want everyone to be at their best, and I'm not rooting for any injuries or anything. We did not personally injure Darius Garland. But now I feel like they might feel that pressure to be like, hey, look, we're already down 1-0. Like we're at home for this game. Like, could he come back? And you don't know what type of player you're going to get back. I think they've tried to clearly rest him for the last 3 playoff games. So we'll see what happens with that. I would imagine he is probably back for game 2. But if they had won, then probably isn't. So we'll see if that influences, losing game 1, if that influences anything that they do. But for right now, I'm on a cloud 9. Our Indiana Pacers they're getting the respect of the nation. They have to take it. It's never given. People do not pick the Pacers to win series, at least from a national media standpoint. They're going to talk about us now. Even before this game, it was, what does Cleveland have to do to beat Indiana, instead of what does the Pacers have? It's never about what can we do. It's always, what does the other team have to do to keep moving on or looking past us or anything of that sort. This is the 1 seed that we're playing. I read that the Pacers haven't beat a 1 seed in the playoffs since I think it was 1994. I want to say it was. So it's been a long, long time, over 30 years. We're not there yet to say we're going to beat the Cavs, but we're on our way. And for that, to me, it feels pretty good right now.
Yeah, and it feels good because it's pretty early in the night, Facci. We're recording this and getting done before 10 o'clock. How great is that? We've been starting some at like 10:30, 11.
Whew, there was one of those games we didn't end until after 1 a.m. And
that was the 9 o'clock tip-off last Sunday.
One of the first comments in the YouTube was like, shout out to the boys getting out that episode early morning. It was like, someone appreciates it. Like, there's been some late nights, but the 6 p.m. tip-off, it has its positives, it has its challenges. When you have kids, it's that much tougher. I mean, my daughter's just everything, Dada, look. And I'm like, having a look at everything, and I'm trying to,
I'm looking at the game, Maddie.
Yeah, I'm just like trying to make both happen. I got my son in one hand and feed him a bottle. I'm trying to watch the game, trying not to cheer too loud. It's got its challenges, but the positives are that this old man could be in bed just a little bit earlier, feeling just a little bit better tomorrow. But I can tell you one thing: once I swing open that door, that air is going to be crisp. That pep, it's going to be there instead. And what can stop us on a Monday morning going into work, telling your friends, did you see that game last night? Because anything could happen right now. And this is what it's all about: playing basketball deep into spring as we're pushing summer. We're in May right now, and we still got a long way to go until we get to June.
This old man does have to give some player awards before he goes to bed. So let's go through it quickly here as we wrap this one up. For your MVP of the game, who you giving it to?
Playoff Nembhard. I really feel like this man had his fingerprints all over this game, and he deserves it.
I would agree. I mean, leading the Pacers in scoring, you can't knock that. I mean, he was just everywhere tonight. And the new saying is nails, Facci, which I'm still trying to get a hang of what that actually means. But when someone was playing great, they're like, "Oh, he's nails." So Andrew Nembhard,
I'm not hip enough. I did not hear that one.
Andrew Nembhard is nails, Facci. Just roll with it. Trust me, I'm not leading you down the wrong. You know what?
No cap, right? I mean, it's just this
God,
is all.
You sounded so old saying.
Yeah,
it like that.
Look, this is all the slang. I guess I can't even say that right. This
sling.
I'm old, man. Like
you said, no cap.
No cap, sling. It's just I'm not hip to what they're saying these days. But you know what? Hey, if nails is the word, nails is it.
I love it. Oh man, you're killing me over here with your old man dad jokes. So MVP Andrew Nembhard. Let's go to our clutch player, Reggie Miller, clutch player of the game. Who we giving this one to?
I believe Tyrese had 9 points in the fourth quarter. So he did definitely have the 9 points. I think were pretty big. Did you have anyone other than Tyrese for clutch player?
So many guys had big shots. I mean, Nembhard had some big shots there too. Honestly, like you could give it to a lot of different Pacers. I mean, Nesmith had some big moments there at the end of the game as well. But I think Halliburton's good. I think the way that he just kind of closed things out there in the fourth quarter, like just putting the ball in his hands, being able to trust him is so important. And like he even had some of those passes to Nembhard that got those open threes. So he just draws so much attention. We'll give it to him for this one. Now, our Feisty Foster player of the game. Who are you going with that one?
Turner had some moments. 3 steals, 2 blocks. Nembhard, I mean,
that's more defensive player.
Yeah. I mean, Nesmith, I think, I mean, I talked about it before. That block from behind and where he hit it, I just feel like he was everywhere. So, I mean, you could definitely give this one to Nesmith. I think Nembhard was also feisty at times. Man, you could go either. Who you going with?
I'm going to go with Nesmith only because he hit some big shots after being in foul trouble. And that's really important to me, like just hitting those shots while you're in foul trouble and just making such a big difference. And I think he had a contest on Donovan Mitchell at the end of the game where he like hustled back on a fast break and just got back and defended without fouling. And the Pacers were able to get out and run and make a shot after that. So it's just really important. Like when he makes those key plays, like we go back to the Bucks series, that play that he had in game 4 where he went down and chased Bobby Portis down and had that block, Foch. He's been able to do that kind of stuff, so many different times throughout this series. And he doesn't have to have like the highlight block, but just like going down there to be able to contest a shot, hard to beat that. So I'll give it to him just because he is so feisty all the time. And I love the way that he plays. I mean, he got an offensive foul, I think, one time for just bumping into somebody because I think it was DeAndre Hunter. He's so fast and he's just so strong. It's like, okay, a little feisty Foster right there. One of those cheap, stupid fouls. I mean, some of those offensive turnovers we had, Facci, tonight were just like stupid offensive fouls.
They were. And the Pacers at one point, they did have just turnovers that they weren't turnovers that were necessarily leading to second chance points. It was just offensive foul. And all right, dead possession. And I was like, okay, I guess if you're going to turn the ball over, at least it's not going to cost you 2 or 3 points. I think Indiana had quite a few of those.
Yeah. For defensive player of the game, I did see somebody in our mentions on Twitter on the Setting the Pace page saying, if it's not Halliburton, I'm going to riot. He had a big block there at the end of the game. That could go into his clutch player of the game as well. I think he had a block on Ty Jerome when he was driving to the basket, so we can put that in there. But it's hard to take it away from Miles Turner, who had 2 blocks, 3 steals, and 11 rebounds. 11 rebounds in this series is going to be huge.
All we've ever asked from. I mean, it's like the scoring. Like we got scores. I mean, look, Turner, obviously, you can't just not give us anything. But if you can give us like above 10 points, but you're on the glass and you're blocking shots, like that is exactly what we need. And Turner, anytime he's giving you double-digit rebounds, I mean, all you can do is sing his praises. So I'd be like Turner, yeah, definitely deserving of that. A double-double out of Turner, the 2 blocks, the 3 steals. I mean, fantastic.
Hard to beat that, Facci. So there you go, everybody. That is our player awards for tonight. If we missed anything or didn't bring anything up, feel free to have that conversation on social media and discuss it with all of Pacer Nation there or in the Chat BCC group chat. If we didn't bring up an award and you want to bring one up, feel free to talk about it there. But with that being said, Facci, awesome way to start out a series. No doubt about it. I'm going to be back tomorrow. We're going to preview Game 2 a little bit on tomorrow's episode. You're not going to be back for that one. You'll be back Tuesday to recap Game 2, and then you'll be back on Wednesday also with our friend from Fear the Furrow, Bob Schmidt. So Facci will be doing an episode without me this week, but we're going to keep these episodes coming pretty much every day throughout the playoff run. So hopefully you guys enjoy that. But the guys from the group chat, David Carson and Lincoln, they're back for their 3rd time, and I'll tell you this, Facci, they've come on. They've been scheduled to come on after every time the Pacers have won. So maybe them coming on the show after wins has been a scheduled curse in a good way, right?
Hey, I'll take whatever we can get in terms of like whatever keeps it going, guys. Let's keep it consistent. Like I realized I didn't wear a jersey just one game out of the whole playoff series. We lost that game. I have to wear jerseys now. And I'll be honest, I ain't washing them either. They're starting to stink a little bit, but I'm doing my part. So that's all we got to do. Let's just pretend we're the 15th man, anything of the sort. Just keep it going.
Yeah, and Derek Schultz will be back for our Game 2 recap as well with us. We discussed that on the last episode he was on, so he's going to be rejoining us again. So anyway, Facci, lots of exciting times for Pacer Nation here as the Pacers pick up a big W. And with that being said, if you're hoping the Pacers get a little bit greedy, come back and just put even more of a punch in the Cavaliers' face here with a Game 2 victory, then hit me with those 3 words.
Let's go, Pacers!
Yeah! 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 That's how we feel!